This is Jesse from the Northwest Classic Gamers Club, and the doctor is in.
Welcome back, gamers. Now, I freaking love the Ninja Turtles. As a kid, that was my favorite Saturday morning cartoon. I watched it all the time. I collected the figures. I had everything. I also had the games. I'm putting together my favorite top 10 Turtles games. Let's go take a look. Number 10, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project. Ninja Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project is a fun game. Like many other Turtle games, it's a beat 'em up. Turtles 3 has an all-new story, starting off with our 4 Turtles vacationing in Florida. Kinda random, but hey, it was the 90s. Shredder starts off the game by stealing the entire island of Manhattan. You have to set out in this 2-player co-op game to save the day and rescue April. Manhattan Project takes you through 8 levels, spanning from beaches of Florida to the floating island Manhattan to the Technodrome, ultimately concluding Shredder's lair and finally Krang's spaceship. Now, I found this game to be the most fun when I was playing it with a second player. It can be a little challenging at times. One feature added to this game that I really like, when you go to respawn, you can change which turtle you play as. It really opens it up. Since each turtle has a different attack speed and range, Manhattan Project really pushes the NES hardware. Eventually, you're going to get a little NES slowdown and even some vanishing sprites. Trying to fit all the animation, bright colors, and fun music into one little game was just too much for that classic NES to handle. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project is an awesome 2-player game. It's fairly easy to find in the wild and shouldn't set you back too much. Definitely pick up a copy. Number 9, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles handheld by Konami. My 9th pick is an LCD game. I bet you didn't see that coming. These were super popular back in the 80s, and they're reminiscent of old Nintendo Game & Watch games. Now, these came out before the Game Boy, and I remember playing this a lot at my grandma's house. The gameplay is broken up in 2, above ground fighting and below in the water, where you need to get the key to help free April. I was never able to beat this game as a kid, but it was still lots of fun, and kind of reminded me of the classic NES game with a similar feeling water stage. Turns out that there's actually 3 of these Konami handhelds, and I didn't know about that till recently. I only had the first. Number 8, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 2007 for the Game Boy Advance. This game was released on several platforms in 2007. I feel out of all of them that the Game Boy Advance was the best. It's really straightforward, the side-scrolling beat-em-up goodness, which is really great. The other TMNT games that were released this year tried to have more of a 3D environment, something more open, and it just kind of fell flat with bad camera angles and controls. The GBA version really hit the nail on the head with what people were looking for. Classic gameplay. Sprites and the art style are fun and vibrant. The game really tries to take it to the next level, adding experience points and the use of the combo system, linking attacks to form bigger combos and thus earn more XP. Between levels, you can buy items and accept challenges. I just wish there was some kind of multiplayer. TMNT is still pretty cheap, and I see it all the time in the wild. Keep an eye out and definitely add it to your handheld collection. Number 7, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Back from the Sewers. Back from the Sewers is everything you could want in a Turtles handheld game. Bold statement, I know. Hear me out. The game designers took everything that was learned from TMNT, the arcade game, and Turtles in Time. The gameplay is fast and fun, with nods to past games. Take control of one of the 4 brothers and set out to stop Shredder and the Foot Clan. There are just 6 levels and it's portable, Turtles classic. At the end of each stage, there's a boss fight. Should you lose one of your turtles, they become captured. and you get the chance to rescue them after you complete each level. You play a short bonus level, and if you can win, they're added back to your roster. If you complete a level and don't need to play such a mini game, then you're treated to another style bonus round. Collect all the pizza pieces to restore health, and get ready for the next level. The game did feel a little short in just 6 levels in today's standards, but on the Game Boy it was just right for a little casual turtle game. Back from the Sewers holds up well. I really like the chiptune turtle songs that play. If you like the cartoon show, you'll feel right at home with this game. I like the fact that you face Super Shredder and Krang. He's huge in this game. Unlike other Turtles games, this portable feels balanced. A few improvements could be made. In an action platformer, the jumping is always important. The way that turtles jump and do flips felt a little cumbersome, and I'd often find myself taking unnecessary damage. I'd say just fix that and wipe the smirk off the turtles' faces. I personally like the turtles design from the first Game Boy game. Other than that, we're all good people. Back from the Sewers, retail's on the cheaper side, and if you happen to see a copy in the wild, you'll be glad to add it to your collection. Number 6, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighter for the Super Nintendo. Tournament Fighter is a fun fighter. I prefer the SNES version myself. It uses the Street Fighter II engine, so you know it's going to be a good 2D fighter. In the SNES version, the colors really pop. The sprites are detailed and really bring to life the turtle universe. I like how it's almost like a blend between the comic and the cartoon. I just wish they would have used this art style for later games. I've only seen this used just in Tournament Fighter. With Tournament Fighter, you can pick between the 4 brothers. Additionally, you can play as War, Chrome Dome, Wingnut, Armageddon, Armagon, and Asuka. Asuka is an original character for the game and makes her first and only appearance in the franchise. Asuka is based off Mitsu from TMNT 3, the movie. In fact, in development, Asuka was named Mitsu, and is believed to be changed due to the low reception that the 3rd movie had. I enjoyed Tournament Fighter as a good pickup or party game. It's best played as a 2-person versus game. It really takes me back to Street Fighter Turbo, over and over, playing with friends. The campaign for the story mode, on the other hand, is pretty hard. The game often feels cheap and will block almost all your attacks. The game isn't as balanced as it should have, and if it came out in today's world, there'd definitely be a patch for it. It took me the longest time to get good enough to make it to the final boss. Now there's super moves you can pull off. At the top of the screen, under the life bar, the green bar fills as you hit each other. Once it's full, you can unleash it. This is a fun finisher for 2-player combat. Unfortunately, you can't use it in story mode. Maybe this would have helped make it more balanced. If you enjoyed playing Street Fighter in the 90s, you should really give TMNT Tournament Fighter a shot. You'll be surprised how much fun a turtle fighter can be. Number 5, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fall of the Foot Clan. Fall of the Foot Clan was one of the first Game Boy games I can remember having. Side-scrolling beat 'em up with large sprites, taking on the Foot Clan. As a kid, it was my favorite Turtles game. I thought it was so cool that you could throw shurikens. Fall of the Foot Clan is a pretty quick game with only 5 stages, that for me always felt like they're getting just a little harder. Each stage ends with a boss from the cartoon. Bebop, Rocksteady, Shredder, Krang. You can pick the order of the levels, and you can pick which turtles that you want to start as. As you progress through the levels, there are bonus stages that you can find. If you happen to lose a turtle, you might be able to gain him back if you can win the minigame. The art style is very detailed and doesn't feel dated at all. I like the fine lines and the use of shading in the background to make it really pop. It's an easy game to find, and I highly recommend it to turtle lovers of all ages. Number 4, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the NES. This is one of the first games I can remember buying myself. Something like $34 from Target. Man, did I love the Turtles back then. I think growing up, this had to be my favorite show. So it couldn't be a bad game now, could it? Yes, this game was hard back when NES games were hard, but I think the biggest distraction had to be the random guys that you're fighting. I don't remember seeing these guys in my Turtles cartoons. You do get your occasional Bebop, Rocksteady, but the generic bad guys and creatures that fill the levels look more like things that crawled out of Dimension X. My younger self fought with this idea, just to have fun with it. After all, you are the Ninja Turtles, and that's the point, right? Now for the time, games were hard. Not that I wasn't good at playing them, they were just hard. And that's okay when they're fair. I never finished this game, no matter how many hundreds of times I played and tried. Getting to the Technodrome just never happened for me. I loved driving the turtle van around. I pretty much wasted all my missiles that most likely could have been used for progressing farther in the game. But sure, it's the fact that you could drive the turtle van really blew my mind. How the game was pretty much a side-scrolling beat-em-up but had other gameplay elements made it really fun. Like I said, driving the turtle van, trying to run over foot soldiers, walking around with an overhead view. At the time, I hadn't seen anything like it. The music was fun, but very repetitive, and that never really bothered me. Now what is going to make your ears bleed is the low health alarm. When you're low, you're going to get a loud beeping noise that won't stop. I've thrown a few guys or two to their death just to make it stop. If there's ever an HD release, this is the one thing they have to fix. Everyone talks about the water area. The water area for me was never that hard. I can get by with minimal damage. My biggest hiccup was never thinking to draw a map of where the bombs were. Even if you did the water stage in perfect time, it only left you with about 30 extra seconds left to defuse the last bomb. To this day, timer countdowns freak me out. Having to rush around just to get it done as fast as possible, I kinda blame this for me never finishing Majora's Mask. Now jumping, I can't even get into without blowing a vein. Long story short, these controls and levels, enemy designs, has something wanting a little more. There are cheap enemy placements, and the controls for your platforming are a little floaty at best at times. That being said, a cool element we take for granted nowadays is being able to switch between turtles on the fly. It's a cool feature that each turtle has a different range of attack and speed. You can also kind of manage your health by switching between turtles. Getting low, switch them out. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, one of the original games I had back when I was a kid. Everyone should have a copy. Don't take it too seriously. Enjoy the beat 'em up turtle action for what it was. Just know you're not going to make it to the Technodrome. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Hyperstone Heist. I totally missed this when I was a kid. We didn't have a Genesis, and I actually didn't know about Hyperstone until a few years ago. Hyperstone came out for the Genesis about the same time Turtles in Time came out for the Super Nintendo. And pretty much everyone compares Hyperstone Heist to Turtles in Time. Having used some of the same levels as its SNES brother, Hyperstone at first seems harder. You notice enemies are a little more aggressive and willing to attack with less wait time. Playing on hard is awesome, but it can be a real challenge at times. Hyperstone sounds good and still remains with that classic Genesis twang, and it works well in this game. Now I think it's really cool. There's an option at the start of the game. You can choose between the anime or the comic book mode. In anime mode, the turtles are roughly the same color, just like in the cartoon. In comic mode, the turtles feature a different shade of green. I think it's a fun option, and it gives just another level of detail and choice. At a glance, Hyperstone Heist may look like a much shorter game. It consists of only 5 levels when compared to other Turtles games, but each one of the 5 levels is significantly longer. It's just the right amount, so it doesn't feel like it's dragging on, and progress is actually getting made. An exclusive for the Genesis, that's freaking amazing. you get to fight Tatsu from the Turtles movie. I really wish the franchise used him more, but here you get to take him on. Sadly, Hyperstone Heist was never ported to a 4-player arcade machine. If you happen to see a copy for a good price, pick it up. More and more people are starting to enjoy Hyperstone Heist, and it's slowly going up in price. Number 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, the arcade game. Turtles in Time is really that good. End of review, I'm out. For most, this is their number 1 Turtles game, let alone one of the best beat 'em ups of all time. The arcade version really nailed it. The first time I played this, I thought we quickly made it to the final level. That it was just a short game, something crazy must have been going on. That's when the game actually first really takes off. Going back in time to where dinosaurs roam the earth, and having to take on Toka and Razor on the pirate ship. How crazy, how odd, how totally awesome, dude. The team that brought you TMNT for the arcade continued on their success and worked on Turtles in Time. As with almost any beat 'em up brawler in the early 90s, all you have to do is move right, attack, beat up the bad guys, rinse and repeat. What really helped elevate Turtles in Time to other level was its basic formula. Take popular themes from 80s movies such as outer space and time travel, mash it all together with our beloved Green brothers, plenty of pizza, and keep it a 4-player game. And by golly, you got yourself a hit. With the release on the SNES, Turtles in Time did get some addition. Most notably for me was the Neon Knight Rider stage getting a major overhaul. The use of Mode 7 in the stage was really awesome. And the change in the end bosses, Shredder is now upgraded with a cameo from the Turtles movie to Super Shredder. This blew my mind. He looks so cool, so evil, and it just made it that much better for me. If you haven't played Turtles in Time, make the time. You'll love it. Number 1, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game. I remember playing this at Chuck E. Cheese. This was the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle arcade game I got my hands on, well before Turtles in Time, and it holds a special place in my heart. I really like the fact that the cabinet uses the classic TMNT cartoon logo with horrible stand-in actors with big hair, cheesy artwork, and everything. It's awesome. Gameplay is what you'd expect from a 4-player beat 'em up at the time. You're working with 2 buttons, jump and attack, and oh man, it's all you need. So drop in a few quarters and pick your favorite turtle. For me, it was always Donatello. With a long attack radius and moderate speed, he really handled the best for me. Similar to Turtles in Time, most of the bad guys you face are going to be foot soldiers. Now, different colored foot soldiers use different weapons, so plan your attacks accordingly. Unlike the majority of Turtles games, the bosses are actually from the TV show. Right off the bat, you face Rocksteady, and you have to rescue April from a burning building. Later it's Bebop, Baxter Stockman, Krang, and Shredder. How cool is that? As you can see side by side, the NES doesn't quite do it justice. It's fun, but it's limited to 2-player, and the game had to be modified for the limitations of the NES. If you happen to find a copy of the Famicom version in the wild, try to pick it up on the cheap. It includes additional content that the NES version doesn't have. The Famicom version includes 2 new levels, the first part of Scene 3 and all of the Scene 6. In addition, new enemy characters are included and 2 new bosses, Tora and Shogun, kind of robot samurai, both characters created just for the game. As a bonus, most of the original stages from the arcade version were extended and made longer. The parking garage Scene 3 now replaces the arcade end battle with Bebop and Rocksteady, and changes it to have you face Baxter Stockman. Regardless, TMNT the arcade game is one of the best 4-player beat 'em up games. Every time I see it in arcades, I have to stop and drop in a few quarters and play. If you haven't had the chance to play this yet, seek it out next time you're in the arcade. Even grab the NES version and give it a go. You'll be sure to love it too. Thanks for watching, guys. That was my top 10 Ninja Turtles games. Now, I'm sure my list didn't look a lot like yours. What are some of your top favorite Turtles games? Do you like Turtles in Time more than the Turtles arcade game? Let me know. As always, I'm the Doctor. Thanks for watching.